Gender-based violence in India, a dark and bitter reality. Gender-based violence in India is defined as physical, sexual, and psychological harm, which is still a major public health problem despite numerous policies and programs. It is also a fact that human rights violations are committed against men as well as women. Over the past few decades, gender-based violence has increasingly come to be recognized as a serious problem at the international level, not only for women but also for the attainment of equality, development, and peace. The issue has become a priority for women's organizations in various parts of states and a subject for a feminist. In recent years, government have also begun to devote attention to this issue. Gender-based violence is a global problem, but to better understand the patterns of violence and its causes and, hence, eliminate them, the starting point must be knowledge of the particular historical and socio-cultural factors at work in each specific context. The specific nature of gender-based violence in India is that other, apparently serious forms of behavior may also be identified as acts of violence. These types of conduct include verbal and coercion, the infliction of physical injuries, serious bodily harm, and sexual abuse that constitute rape or ravishment.
Gender-based violence against people with disabilities. Social discriminations based on gender and disability increase the vulnerability to gender-based violence for both men and women with disabilities. However, women and girls with disabilities are at an increased risk because of emotional, sexual, and physical abuse. It was determined that the earlier instruments did not give due consideration to gender-based violence in India and that a specific definition of this crime was lacking. The social model defined disability as a social construct that arises as society disables people with impairments by denying them full participation. Moreover, evaluating services and interventions that address gender-based violence among PWDs is almost inexistent. This eminent lack of data concerning PWDs obscures the state of gender-based violence in this population, deterring political commitment and comprehensive public health engagement. There are multiple forms of violence during their lifetime, by multiple perpetrators for longer periods, as compared to people without disabilities. PWDs are vulnerable to violence from the family members and well-known acquaintances.
Gender-based violence in India against transgender. Factors that increase the vulnerability of transgender are multifaceted. Gender role attitudes are one of the key determinants that increase gender-based violence vulnerability among the transgender. Several societies control people's sexuality through practices such as institutionalization, forced sterilization, and marriage restriction. Additionally, transgender is socialized to be agreeable in order to receive care. Such socialization creates internalized oppression and compliance, hindering them from reporting abuse and encouraging them to remain in abusive situations. Such social norms that promote societal devaluation of transgender increase their vulnerability to gender-based violence in India.
Gender-based violence against women. Gender-based violence is the human rights violation and a public health problem affecting many out of every 3 women. It is also an extreme manifestation of gender inequity, targeting women and girls because of their subordinate social status in the society. It can take forms of psychological, physical, or sexual abuse, and in all of its manifestations, it can have serious implications for a woman's sexual and reproductive health. Violence and violence threats can be experienced by every woman irrespective of age, skin color, religion, and economic or social status. Violence can occur everywhere, for example, on the streets, at the workplace in terms of sexual harassment. At home, a woman may not be safe, which is often targeted at women because she can also be battered and abused by her spouse. Incestuous rape.
The outcome of gender-based violence in India is long-lasting for its victims and rampant for the often inadequate responses. Hence, it is crucial to maintain the sense of urgency in gender-based violence cases, even during crisis situations. It is maintained that there is a need for a holistic response model to deal with the issue of gender-based violence during current and possible future pandemics. Health professionals, media, and community efforts must be combined to effectively deal with the issue of gender-based violence. Moreover, continuous and rigorous efforts are required to end the stigma associated with gender-based violence in India.